Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. And today, I'm making my IKEA greenhouse cabinet. Woo! It's my first one, and I've chosen the RUDSTA Wide Cabinet. So if you're interested in seeing how I set it up and how I arrange my plants and just that whole process, continue to watch. It is evening time currently, so the sun's gonna set. I'm gonna need to maybe set up some different lighting very shortly, but I figured I'll at least kind of get started. First things first, I need to clear out all these plants because I'm planning on putting the cabinet right here. They're north-facing windows, so honestly this is like the perfect place to put a cabinet that will have row lights and such in there to accommodate plants. Okay, I had to take a quick break, so it's much later now, but it's time to assemble this IKEA greenhouse cabinet. On the whole, the cabinet wasn't too terrible to assemble, but I will say this, we did end up having to start over at one point, which I was so puzzled by because I thought I had been so careful about picking the correct pieces. But I think what happened is that the differences between the side frames with the legs were not clearly delineated in the instructions. So I just kind of assumed that they were identical, and I assumed that the first side frame you were supposed to use was the first one in the first box, but that was not the case. So yeah, lesson learned, just make no assumptions and be even more careful than I was. Okay, we're getting close. We have the doors on, and we're going to put the top on, but a lot of people will feed cords in that. So right here, there's a gap that a lot of people will feed their cords through. So before we put the top on, I feel like we need to start dealing with cord management because people will like unscrew this and lift it up to fit cords in. Okay, so I've got, I believe they're Barina T5 grow lights, and so this is the cord for it. And before I screw this back in, I went ahead and unscrewed it so that I could just very easily feed in this cord right here. And then the only other cord I think I need is for this fan. Okay, so those are like the two cords that I just need in there. So now I should be able to just finish closing it up and add the top. This is definitely not my favorite part. I'm excited for the fun part. These are the grow lights, and I think I'm just gonna use two. They came in a pack of 4. I think I'm just gonna use 2. They're daisy chained. I'll have it like approximately there. It's my original plan. I don't know if it's actually gonna work, just to use these magnet hooks and put them there, and then use zip ties, like a zip tie the grow lights to these magnet hooks. Ooh, those are nice and strong. What? If it doesn't work, then I'll just default back to my other plan, which is command strips, which I think is the more popular choice among people. Do you think you can help me hang it? We can also remove it. I have the grow lights installed, and now I have this fan thing, but I'm going to use zip ties along with hooks, kind of the same way that I installed the grow lights. Okay, I think I'm okay with that for now. I just have a hook here and a hook here with zip ties that I'm gonna have to cut, obviously. In the future, I may try to like angle it more, but again, like I can always address that later. Ooh, okay, the other one maybe isn't turned on. There we go. Okay, well now I turned on the grow lights. Okay, that's fun. I just did 2 of them, and then I also installed the fan, but I haven't turned that on. The things I have to do next, I have to do cable management. I also want to like clean off the glass because it's a little bit crusty dusty with fingerprints and such. I also want to do weather stripping, and then I get to put in shelves. So these are magnetic shelves and an acrylic shelf, and then it'll be plant time. I'm super excited. I have to go to bed now and clean up a big mess. So I'll see you tomorrow, probably. And it's the next day. I have already done a few things with the cabinet today, admittedly off camera. So I will show you real quick. The first thing is I set up the timer plug thing that I'm using. I'm actually opting for a manual one, but you can obviously get like a smart plug strip. The fan is always going to be on, so it's just on the right side, which is the stuff that's like always on, and then the left side is the stuff that's on the timer, which includes the grow light that's right here. And then I'm also going to still keep my grow light that's right here. I'm just going to raise it up a bit, and then I'll have some plants here. And again, this is a north-facing window, so just the lighting isn't great anyways, hence the grow light. And then in here, I did some cable management. I have the fan running, so don't mind the noise, but I just used cable management clips. They're just like 3M strips. I'll show them to you. I clipped up the cables so that they're out of sight, so that when you look at it head on, you're not seeing a ton of cables. I still need to figure out how I'm gonna deal with that. These are the cable management things that I was talking about. And you just use a sticky strip with it. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. My room is such a mess right now, and I'm so excited to get this done so that I can get things back to normal. First, I need to do the weather stripping, which actually I potentially should have done the weather stripping before putting the whole cabinet together, or like done it as I was assembling it. That might have been easier, but I've seen people do it both ways. But just so you guys know, one good option is to like actually install the weather stripping as you're doing it. Hopefully that goes well, but we'll see how it goes. First though, I'm getting all this stuff out of the way. This is the weather stripping that I'm gonna be using. It's like mostly clear, I think. Some weather stripping is like foam and it goes in the gaps, but this kind is a little bit different. So this right here is where there's a sticky back, and I'm pretty sure this portion is meant to like block the gap. I hope I use this correctly because that would be really embarrassing if I don't, but worst case scenario, I just remove it and start over with a different kind of weather stripping. So let's do it. I don't know that I'm gonna perfectly fill all of the gaps or anything, but I just want to at least get some of the worst ones, and if I feel like I need to go back and weather strip some more, I will, but I'm just trying to get like the most egregious gaps and like the easiest gaps for me to manage. I just cut strips that are the appropriate length just by lining it up, and I removed the sticky portion. For the door, I'm only gonna do it to one, I think, to one side. So you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's not like absolutely perfect, but in theory that should keep most of the moisture kind of in. guys, I think that we're finally at the fun part. I really don't have any specific plans as to which plants are going where. I'm just gonna figure it out. Yeah, we're doing this adventure together. Okay, so I guess I'll give you the little tour of the space and what plants I've put here. So on this plant stand, I have my philodendron Florida Ghost. I'm hoping that he'll be getting enough light between the grow lights that are in there and this one up here in that window. But if he starts to decline or ateliolate or whatever that word is, I will have to reevaluate. But that's where he is for now. Down here, I have my Domino Peace Lily, whom I just watered, so don't mind her floppiness. And then my Syndapsis Jade Satin, which they also are getting pretty low light, but some light. And up on top here, I have my Syngonium erythrophyllum, Philodendron Splendid, Philodendron Brantianum, Monstera Thai Constellation, Stramanthe Trio Star, and Monstera Adansonii. Inside the cabinet, we've got Monstera Siltepecana and Syndapsis lucens, and my variegated string of hearts and Hoya Morellii. Down here on the acrylic shelf, we have my variegated Philodendron Hieracium or variegated heartleaf and Philodendron White Princess, Alocasia Dragon Scale, Epipremnum pinnatum alvo variegata, Syngonium Strawberry Milk, Anthurium clarinervium, and Philodendron gigas. And then down here in this lowest level, we have the Philodendron Dark Lord, Anthurium crystallinum, Philodendron Pink Princess, and Maranta Silver Band. I would say as a whole, I am so pleased with how this turned out. Obviously, there's plenty of room for other things. I'm fully expecting this arrangement to change at some point, but this is a good starting point. And I'll let you know what the humidity ends up being, because I mean, it just hasn't had enough time closed up for me to know for sure what the humidity is going to be like, especially with the fan running and that sort of thing. I do know that sometimes people will add leca trays or little mini humidifiers if they're having trouble keeping the humidity up. I am really hoping between the somewhat closed environment and the plants, the humidity will stay up pretty nicely. I don't think that I talked at length about the lights yet, or a few of the other elements of the greenhouse cabinet, so I guess I will now. I believe I got the Barina T5s. They come in a pack of 4, and I did like a decent amount of research just in the different greenhouse cabinet, like Facebook groups and Instagram pages and stuff like that. The consensus seemed to be that the Barina T5 were not quite as strong as some of the other lights on the market. However, for my purposes, I think that actually is gonna work out really nicely because in this cabinet, I think I'm primarily gonna be putting aeroids, particularly philodendron and anthurium in here. I only have one Hoya in here and it's like right up against the light. I really don't want my plants to get chlorotic or bleached out or anything like that. So I think that this will actually work out really nicely. I'm hoping that this will be like a good level of light. And I'm really happy so far with just the way that it looks. It's a really nice, warm tone. I don't think I talked about it before, but the cables on the side, I added some electrical tape. It's at least relatively contained, and I mean, you're mostly distracted by the plants anyways. So I think I'm also gonna invest in more saucers and stuff like that, and maybe even get some felt to put on the saucers, because with the acrylic, I know that in particular scratches up really easily. To give you guys a quick update. It has been a week since I built this greenhouse cabinet. So there are a few changes that I made. I probably rearranged the cabinet in terms of plants like 3 times, but I really like where it's at now. One of the bigger things is that I added my Hoya linearis and kind of switched some things there. And I also moved up my Anthurium crystallinum to the second shelf and stuff like that. So I did just a little bit of rearranging. I added a few more plants, that sort of thing. Second of all, I did end up changing the weather stripping. Kept that like clear, wide weather stripping portion for the door, but it kept on like coming off of the other seams in the cabinet. So I did end up getting a different kind of weather stripping. I would definitely recommend getting something more like this. This is just like a piece of foam with adhesive backing, and this is working really well. It's keeping it in the humidity. And all throughout this week, I would say the range of humidity has been roughly like 60% humidity to 82% humidity. That's like the average typical range, and it does vary a lot. I've noticed the humidity goes up like after I water the plants for obvious reasons. It also goes up at nighttime, like when the lights aren't actively running. So I guess that also makes sense. Occasionally I do, like if I feel like it needs a boost, I will take a mister and just kind of do a quick spray down of the cabinet, and that kind of reintroduces humidity, and that keeps the humidity up to like 80% for several hours. Another thing is that I actually added a third Barina grow light. I went in with my handy dandy light meter that I got recently, and towards the bottom of the cabinet, I really just was not at all content with how much light those plants were getting. I originally only did 2 Barina T5s because I was kind of paranoid about my plants getting bleached or chlorotic, but I think that they're weak enough that adding a third really makes a big difference. So I just added a third one up at the front, and I went ahead and added that one with command strips so that it would be more flush against the top and not be like hanging down and blaring in my face towards the front. The other thing is that I did add a crate to kind of help hide the cords, and I put my humidifier that used to be in my dresser that's right here on top of the crate, and that way the humidity is honestly like also getting these top plants here and generally increasing the humidity in the room, which also helps to, I guess, increase humidity in the cabinet so that it's less likely to escape or whatever. I don't know. I don't have it running constantly, but I have it running on particularly dry days, or if I feel like giving my plants a little bit of a boost. Okay, I think this is the last thing, I promise. I'm hanging onto this little thing. You're probably like, Joy, what the heck is that? They're these little felt pads that you can get for super cheap. I did end up getting a few saucers, and I added these little felt pads to the bottom of the saucers so they like slide around really easily, and then I just end up placing the pots on the saucers. I might try just adding more felt to all of the pots in here just to mitigate any scratching. And honestly, I'm halfway tempted to just add felt to the bottom of like all of my pots, period, because it's actually really satisfying to set it down and it doesn't make a sound. It's just smooth as butter. Anyways, okay, this is the official end of the video. I just wanted to give you a quick update. So far it's been a week and I really love the cabinet. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update because a lot of things have changed even in the span of just a week. But I am really happy with the cabinet and where it's at. And yeah, I hope that you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.